Good morning, everyone. Let's stand and we'll do Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Jake, if you could do roll call, please.
Keisha Johnner.
Here.
Jim Mueller.
Here.
Steve McCombs.
Here.
Entertain a motion to approve of today's agenda. Motion to approve today's agenda. Sorry.
Move to approve today's agenda.
Second.
McCombs.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Johnner.
Aye. Communications?
Mhm.
No, nothing. Okay. Item number 4 is public comments. This is the portion of the agenda during which we can hear from the public on the item that is not on the agenda below. If you're here to hear to be heard on agenda item, please wait for that item discussion to come. Opportunity to be sorry, the item discussion portion of agenda to make your comment about the item. Thank you. Any other public comments? Nothing online? Consent agenda. Entertain a motion for today's consent agenda.
I move we approve today's consent agenda.
Support.
Mueller.
Aye.
Johnner.
Aye.
McCombs.
Aye.
Moving right along to business. Item number one is a public hearing. This is Marion County is seeking to sell a quitclaim deed known as the sand pit area. This is the legal description is on, if you're online, you can see that legal description. This is the public hearing portion of this. Do we have any public comments regarding this?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Johnner.
Aye.
McCombs.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Item number 2 is the sealed bid opening for the property, Marion County's property of, it's called Sand Pit by Howell Station. Jake.
Oh, because this is yours, no, we just waited until today for you guys to open. So maybe if Keisha, you might want to just write the bids.
Okay.
here, and Gil, you wouldn't mind opening?
Sure.
So there's 6. I don't know what you want to do.
And I will read each bid incomplete. Quit claim deed parcel 12594-001-00, known as Sandpit area, Thomas Ronald Dingaman, 110 Pike Court, Pella, Iowa, 50219, cell phone number, which I'm not going to read. I'm putting in a bid for a total of $20,000. This is a sealed bid regarding the Marion County notice of intent to sell sandpit area county property. Bid purchase $15,251. Tim Denoy, owner representative of 3 Ventures LLC.
15,251, correct?
Yep, 15251.00.
Okay.
Well, this was a long one. Marion County, oh, this is the notice of intent. So this is public information. I'm not going to read the notice of intent. I will simply read the response. I, Brian Sturk, hereby submit my bid for the above listed property in the amount of $60,600.00.
How much?
60,000.
60?
Yep. I, Troy DeYoung, would like to place a bid of $6,680 on the disposition of Marion County property, Howell Station, Old Sandpit area, parcel number 12594.00.0 or .01.00. Total bid $6,680.
Okay.
Troy DeYoung. Again, the things on this bid are public information, so I'm not gonna go through all of that, as well as the notice of intent to sell the property. The response is bid price of $7,500, Ed and Brett decline, 404 Central Harvey. And the last bid. I, Greg Mifflin, offer $55,000 for this property. 149 Terrace Avenue. And that is Greg Mifflin.
Okay.
And that is all of the bids.
All right. Board, we, opened up the sealed bids. Clearly, there is one that is of significance. Brian Stirk was $60,000. But,
So if I could get you to all, if you would just
Accept
please
all this.
initial the schedule. And then maybe we'll close this portion of it. And
Yep. You want us, where would you like us? Just initial on it? Okay.
So we have,
You want us to sign it or just initial?
it doesn't matter, just so we know that you. Write today's date on it, Steve.
Date,
Just put it down there in the bottom.
May
27th, yeah, May 27th. You. Maybe close.
Yep, yep.
this.
Entertain a motion to close, the sealed bid process.
Move to close the bid opening process for the property known as the Sand Pit area by Hall Station.
second,
McCombs,
aye,
Mueller,
Aye.
Johnner.
Aye. Item number 3 is resolution 2025-40, which is the approval of the final determination regarding disposal of the real property. Board, we have before us what we just opened up on the sealed bids. Is there any discussion and regarding that? The highest bid we know was Brian Stirk of $60,000. And which I am fine with selling that for that.
yes, I'm fine, I guess it behooves us to accept the highest bid.
Yes, yeah, I agree. So entertain a motion to approve selling, proving the final determination of selling the Sand Pit property by resolution of 2025-40. This would also give the county attorney the authority to be able to do the process of the quitclaim deed and selling it to Brian Stirk.
I make a motion that we approve resolution 2025-40, accepting Mr. Brian Stirk's bid of $60,000 for the above mentioned property.
A second.
Mueller,
Aye.
Johnner.
Aye.
McComb.
Aye,
Thank you for everyone that did bid. I appreciate that. Item number 4 is a public hearing. This is FY25 Marion County Budget Amendment number 1. So that everybody can understand, this is just the public hearing portion. This is what is the budget. We have done a budget amendment. And Jake, is there any comments that you would like to state? This would be for fiscal year FY 24-25.
That's correct. Just a second. So this is, we always have to think about where we're at, what time of year we're in here and what year we're in. So this is actually current fiscal year that will be ending June 30th. So the goal, if an amendment is needed, and we did need some amendments for Department 99 and some different things that we put out that information to departments. It's always weird because we've just finished working on the 26 budget and now we're amending the 25 budget for a variety of reasons. So emails goes out to all department heads with a time to submit requests amongst some departments that, you know, the board oversees as well, and projects that have come up or things that have come up. So most departments didn't need amendments. You have a sheet in front of you with a few with most of the highlights, and most of these are out of Department 99, which is county stuff. And like concluding the Pleasantville project that goes over multiple years. Those are the types of things that we have. My department had a couple special elections, so I asked for, we just needed more expense room because we had a lot of activity in the year. So my department is actually one of them. This before you is the summary that we submit to the state. If this is approved, we do the normal process, submitting to the state, and all departments would see any approved changes, and their next month end.
Right, and this money would just, this is what we have money in reserves.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know this is the public hearing portion, but this is not an asking for any additional tax. This is creating expense room, and, you know, if it's expended, it does have to, the monies have to come from somewhere. So it's from reserves or something like that, grants that have come in, there's a pass through, those types of things, but this is not additional tax ask.
So this is the public hearing portion. Is there any public comments? Nothing online? Entertain motion to close the public hearing.
Move to close public hearing.
Support.
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs,
Aye.
Mueller,
Aye.
Item number 5 is resolution 2025-52, which would be the adoption of the Marion County FY 25 budget amendment number 1. Board, if there's no further discussion, entertain a motion for resolution.
Move we approve resolution 2025-52.
Second.
McCombs,
Aye.
Mueller,
Aye.
Johnner.
Aye. On to resolution 2025-53, which is the appropriation of FY 25 Marion County budget amendment number 1.
So, yeah,
It's just
Go ahead.
appropriating the budget in full for the amendment.
that's correct. And again, if it's not used, then it doesn't get used, but we generally appropriate 100% of the expense.
Board, if there's no further questions, entertain a motion for resolution 2025-53.
I move we approve resolution 2025-53.
I'll second.
Mueller,
Aye.
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs.
Aye.
On to item number 7, which is resolution 2025-54. This is for FY 26 Marion County budget expense appropriations. So board, in the past, Jim, we have done this a little bit later. Jake and I have discussed, we're not for sure why we just don't do this at budget session, but it's just one of those
Right.
things that seems to come a little bit later. But this would be, we have the opportunity, whether we want to appropriate at 100%, 90%, however we want to do that, okay? But it is a thing that, I feel like we have discussed this in the budget sessions. We've made it very apparent that where we're at as a board, and we're trying to look at things whether for the future, such as salaries and things. So I am fine with appropriating 100%. I would like to make sure that department heads, electeds all understand, and I think we need to discuss this also as electeds, as board of supervisors, but be mindful of your budget. We all know things can change. And watch your revenue lines, please. Examples of, if you lose a grant, then don't spend the money. And that was an example of which we had in the last couple years. Public health did a very good job about that. They had lost a couple grants. It was budgeted, but they did not spend that money. So those are things that we just need to be mindful of when you're out trying to get grants, and sometimes we lose those grants, then don't spend that money that's budgeted. I guess that's my
No,
thoughts.
that makes sense.
So,
The reason we didn't budget 100% for it was kind of a process that people could watch their budget a lot closer, and then they'd have to do a budget amendment if there was more funds needed. But I'm fine with the 100% also.
and I think it also, it is, and I know Jake would do whatever we choose to have him do, but it is a lot more work.
Mhm.
And I think that all our department heads can be responsible, and we as electeds can be responsible, and so.
I'm in favor of doing 100% as well, simply from the fact of it stops. Not that anybody would, but in theory, it would stop people playing games of requesting more than they really need, anticipating that they're only gonna be funded or allocated a certain percentage.
Right,
Correct.
So this
right.
really drives home the point of ask for what you need and need what you ask for.
Thank you for making that point. That is very good. Yes, I agree. So with that, I would entertain a motion for resolution 2025-54 and the appropriation. I do think that we need to state 100% in that motion. So
I move to approve resolution number 2025-54, funding 100% of the budgeted allocation.
I'll second.
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs,
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's only like a month away.
Right, I know. It's coming on us so quick.
Should we start on the following year's
No,
budget yet, or
no.
are you ready for that, Jake?
No,
Item number 8 is the public hearing portion, which is Marion County Ordinance 2025 for, this is the amendment chapter 5 of local option sales and service tax.
so I'll take this one if
Yes,
that's
if
okay,
that's
because this is
okay.
my request. So this is purely administrative. It is addressing an ordinance that we have. We have obviously chapter 5 of our county ordinance regarding local option sales tax. So it's a requirement by the state when a local jurisdiction implements local option sales tax that the county has to have an ordinance in place allowing that. I'm not sure why, because the local jurisdictions are the ones that vote on it. Other than the township portion, then the county does. So we've had many elections over the years regarding local option sales tax. The county did it ourselves for our unincorporated area. The latest one was the city of Pella had their local option sales tax extended for an additional 20 years. Normal process is that we update these as we go along. The update for this was included if you guys approve this, included in the recodification project that we've been working on, and that project just has not found its way home yet, it's still in process. It was brought to my attention, and rightfully so, that we should get this updated because the dates for the city of Pella has extended from 24 to 43, and that's the change that's needed. It's purely administrative. It's been voted on, it's been approved, we have abstracts. We just need to get our ordinances caught up, and I think my recommendation to the board is not wait for the codification. It was just going to be included in that. But so that's our request, and that's the only change is the dates of the city of Pella lost.
This is the public hearing portion. Is there any public comments? Anything online? Seeing none, then entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Move to close the public hearing.
Or,
McCombs,
Aye.
Mueller,
aye.
Johnner.
Aye. Ordinance 2025-4, which would be approve the first reading proposed Marion County Ordinance 2025-4 for the amendment of chapter 5 local option sales and service tax. Board, any discussion? If not,
Just have a real quick question,
Yep.
Jake. With the city of, or the community of Swan, with their unincorporation, how does that impact this? Do you know?
Well, at this point, they're still status quo.
Okay.
So they're not sure, I don't think, what direction they're gonna go yet. They're still
Okay.
working through that process. I think they have a meeting coming up again in June. So if it remains, they will, nothing will change here. If through whatever process it is, through council or election that they unincorporate, we'll have to amend.
Okay.
That's my guess. We'll ask for council,
Okay,
well, a council's advice on that.
thank you.
And then, yeah, we'll just,
Yep.
there's lots to that. but-
Sure.
Nope, good question though. So, right, no,
Hmm.
any other questions?
No, that was a good one.
We'll entertain a motion for ordinance 2025-4, first reading.
I move we approve ordinance 2025-4, the first reading.
Second?
Mueller,
Aye.
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs.
Aye.
Item number 10.
So, yeah, this is
Move we
my,
approve ordinance 2025-4, waiving second and third reading.
thank you. I appreciate that. For the administrative purposes, and I do need to point out that I have a typo on this. So my cut and paste was really rolling on this. So it is not a zoning map amendment, just to be clear. That is a typo. I
Yeah.
should not have
Oh,
had that at the end. So that's my mistake. And I appreciate the waiving of the third for this administrative purpose. So didn't mean to do that to you.
All right, we had a motion, do we have support? I don't remember.
Second.
Johnner,
Aye,
McCombs,
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
I greatly appreciate this, folks.
thank you, Jake. Item number 11 is the appointment of the Marion County Veterans Affairs Commission. This is to fill a vacancy. Mr. Al Van Zee, I believe it is, that
Mhm.
passed. So the commission would like to recommend Fallon Bernie, I believe is how you state his name. Term ending would be 6/30/27. The commission is obviously recommending this. I see no problem with this. I don't know what the board, if you have any other further thoughts on it.
No, I'm fine with it.
Okay, all right. So I'll entertain a motion to approve appointing Mr. Fallon Bernie to the commission.
So moved.
And I'll support.
McCombs,
Aye.
Mueller,
Aye.
Johnner.
Aye. Item number 12 is resolution 2025-56. This is authorizing quitclaim deed. So Susan and Joshua, is it Brighton? Brighton? I don't want to pronounce their
Not
names
sure.
wrong, so sorry. Yeah. Anyways, Tyler, I believe this is one of yours.
Yeah, so this is kind of an administrative cleanup item. A surveyor hired by the current property owners approached us about some research showing showing right of way, particularly in this drawing between the yellow and red lines running horizontal across the screen. So in our research, there was no record of the right of way since the 1940s.
Okay.
After discussion with the attorney, the owner's attorney, the county attorney, and Jake's office, and the surveyor that brought it to our attention, we agreed that this quitclaim deed would suffice, because that's to quit ourselves of any interest in this, and not a formal vacation, because the property has been sold multiple times, the parcels have been combined. You know, that all intent is that there is no county right of way here, so this is just a cleanup item saying, no, we don't have any interest. Jake's office was involved, I don't know, and Ross from the county attorney's office have reviewed this as well, and all parties agreed this was the process to.
It's being taxed.
Yeah.
It's purely just to assist in saying we have zero interest in this is what it should be. And there was quite a bit of discussion about
Yeah,
why aren't we doing it as a vacation? It's because we're not really vacating.
Never been.
We're just
Yeah.
clearing title.
no,
Yeah.
Seems pretty straightforward.
I have no problem with this. No further discussion. Any motion?
Makes perfect sense. Make a motion, we approve resolution 2025-56.
Support.
Mueller.
Aye.
Johnner.
Aye.
McCombs.
Aye.
Item number 13 is resolution 2025-57. This would approve plans, specifications and estimated cost of the county line road pavement rehabilitation. Tyler.
Yeah, so last Wednesday, I went to the City of Monroe City Council meeting to present the same plans and specifications for what is now two projects. Technically, it's still one overall project. It's two separate bid lettings, one for grading and storm sewer work, and then one for the road full depth reclamation and paving. So this is the the one before you now is the HMA part of the work. So full depth reclamation and 5 inches of asphalt. So what we will be doing there is grinding up the existing 3 to 4 inches wide, taking that asphalt, spreading it to 26-foot wide, doing a chemical stabilization, cement stabilization of the 26-foot, and then ultimately end up with a 22-foot wide, 5-inch HMA roadway as part of this part of the project. This project has 15 working days with a late start date of June, sorry.
The HMA one is the second.
Yeah, I said, I just realized that.
That's that.
That's what happens when I
Yeah.
have two. Everything looks the same on my.
Right.
So
Is the 98,000, is that something on this first one, is that what we're splitting, or is that?
Correct.
Our cost?
yeah, we would split the sum of both projects.
Okay, that's good
Per the
information.
2080,
Okay.
correct. And you will notice that my most recent engineer's estimate, once final design was completed, we're about 10 to 12,000 over our estimated cost per the 2080, which again, that was an estimate. It says in the 2080 estimated cost, equal shares 50-50 is defined, not, so of actual construction costs is the way that's worded. So hopefully bids come in good and we're
Under this.
under for both projects. I'm sorry. So the widening part is to widen to accommodate a 3-foot shoulder on each side of the road, which is 2-foot shoulders was the desire of the city. To meet current design standards for the type of road and the volume of traffic, we really need a 3-foot shoulder. And we were able to accommodate that. However, storm sewer made that much easier without the purchase of additional right of way to accommodate that 3-foot shoulder on the far west end of the project. That's why we have grading and storm sewer as part of the first part of the project. The storm sewer just makes it easier to accommodate that 3-foot shoulder without purchase of right of way. So this project has 15 of widening, and storm sewer has 15 working days with a late start date of July 21st, with the bid letting of June 17, and the estimated cost as presented, which was $98,650. The city of Monroe did approve this at their council meeting last Wednesday.
Tyler, I have one question for you, in regarding this. Is this typically what, cities and county or counties do? I mean, when it comes to like a county line road type situation?
What do you
It's a
mean?
unique where since it is a county line road, we're splitting, these costs, is that?
Anytime we have a joint project with a city or county, there is typically a 28E or MOU or some document stating the funding, kind of a funding agreement. We already have 28Es in place for road maintenance.
Okay.
So yes, this is typical. I would not say they're all the same. For example, the most recent project we did with the city of Pella, I think they were the administrator. So basically from this point forward, I'll be the administrator of this project. And so once bids are received and awarded, that all happens here, and we won't have to return to the city other than for their share of the cost. In other cases, sometimes the city is the project administrator. The jurisdictional split may be different depending on the project. This is a 50-50 road. Some projects are not 50-50 roads. It's a joint project for another reason, because instead of terminating at the corporate limit, we're entering 100%, but we're doing the project together. Like, does that?
Do we fund it and then do we receive, or do they split the bill?
Don't remember how that's worded in this one.
I just was,
You mean, do we cash flow and have reimbursement?
yes.
I think that's typically how we've done it, but I'm not sure how this one is worded.
Sure either.
I'd have to revisit the 2080. That was approved in October or November of last year.
All right, board, any other questions regarding this? Entertain a motion for resolution 2025-57.
Move we approve, resolution 2025-57.
Second,
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs,
aye,
Mueller,
Aye.
Item number 14 is resolution 2025-58, which again, this is to approve the plans for the road pavement rehabilitation, and this is the cement stabilization and HMA paving, and yes, what he was discussing also earlier, but this $412,000 we would be splitting, correct? That's what you said earlier.
Correct.
Yeah.
So this part of the project would commence after the previous phase. And this is a completion date contract with a completion date of September 12th. And also same letting date of June 17. With an estimated cost of $412,737.50. Both projects will be let on June 17th, and our anticipated award would be at your June 24 board meeting. I will be gone both of those dates of June 17th and 24th. I'll have all the documents prepared, just my staff will have to fill in the blanks for award a contract, and hopefully everything goes seamless, and they can review the contractors and do their due diligence like we would typically do prior to award. But I will not be here for either of those events, which is not a problem. Just giving you a heads up.
Nope,
My staff will be able to handle that and bring that to you on the 24th.
Lord, I also think that it's important that we didn't speak about this in the last one, but this is coming out of our local option sales tax. We'd approved last fall that 2080 and funding that. So things that, in the future with lost, those are things that, if there's shortfalls when it comes to road department, that we may be having to look at our lost stats. Other than that, no further questions?
Tyler, I do have one real quick question.
Mhm.
I see it's called HMA pavement. What's HMA stand for?
Jake and I just had this conversation. Hot mix asphalt.
Okay, so it is asphalt, not PCC.
Correct. It
Okay,
is hot
alright.
mix asphalt. HMA is the designation. There is such a thing as WMA, warm mix asphalt, or cold in place recycling would be CIP. So it's just
It's
our
asphalt,
local acronym. Yeah.
asphalt versus concrete.
Mhm.
Very good, thank you.
Right. No further comments? Entertain a motion.
move we approve resolution 2025-58,
Second.
McCombs,
aye,
Mueller,
Aye.
Johnner.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 15 is resolution 2025-59. This is to approve the transfer of interest monies from the Atkins project to the Marion County Debt Service Fund. Jake?
I can take this one too. So this is a combination of, Michaela has the heavy lifting on this one, actually, in the treasurer's office, and our office, but, go backwards, the county, did all the agreements and did the process for the Pleasantville Atkins project, issued the notes, and we have fulfilled our portion of the expenses to the city of Pleasantville. In this particular development agreement and the agreement with the city for that project, they had a project going on with a RISE grant, and then they had the development project. And the county and the city had their agreement directly. So the county paid the city direct for those expenses, and the city took care of the project itself. So we have fulfilled our duties. When we get bonds like that, our practice is to keep those all separate in a capital fund, and Michaela tracks interest throughout that time. So the amount that's left, and it was approximately, I don't remember the number,
Current
but
balance of the fund is
$19,000 approximately, that will change to the date that she closes the account.
Okay.
But, what our intention is, or what we have done historically, is interest was kept separate, for contingency or whatever situation needed it. And now by this resolution, she will transfer that money from that capital project fund, be able to close it and no longer have to manage another bank account and track that interest. We will put this into the, debt service fund, and it will reside in the debt service fund, and we will use this as part of our debt service calculation for the FY 26-27 taxes. So in essence, if we need, I don't remember how much the bond payments are, but let's say we need $100,000 to pay that bond in FY 27, we will apply this $19,000 to it and only have to use a debt service on the 81,000.
So just a real quick question.
Yes,
And the
sir.
only reason that I asked this question is just my finance hat
Yep.
coming on here
Mhm.
of, I always call it found money, unanticipated funds availability.
Mhm.
Why wouldn't we take that 19,891 and apply it directly to a bond balance and not keep
Yeah,
the reserve back on the debt service fund and just say, you know what, we scheduled X number of dollars per month on our debt service. Let's follow through on that and just take this and apply it directly to it to pay those down a little early and take
yeah.
the,
I believe
the
that,
burden off the taxpayer.
yeah, so we're kind of doing that. It's just slower.
Okay,
So
just
it
a
is
little-
directly to do that, to reduce the tax burden on the taxpayers.
Okay,
We can't pay early.
Okay.
We don't have that ability. There's a call date like midway through usually,
are all of our bonds that way with a call
generally.
date?
generally. Again, I'm not an expert in that area.
Okay,
But generally, there's a call date in between there if you want to try and do that or not. And we can definitely pull that, the issuance and to see.
I would be interested.
Yeah,
in
I can
knowing
send
what
you
bonds
that.
are and what our call dates
I can
are.
send you that, and that'll have schedule and interest and all that stuff. So in essence, this, we're not paying it immediately, and it seems a little bit weird that we're kind of skipping a year. But we've already approved the FY 26 budget. We've already
Sure.
accounted for, it had some capitalized interest in it, actually. We've accounted for that for our debt service levy for the upcoming year. So that's why I move it ahead. Michaela and I will track that. We have several different ones that we're tracking now like that, with these development projects that we've had. So the good news is it will reduce the burden of the debt service levy by that amount, but it is going to take a year and a half or whatever. Does that make? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I just will
Yeah.
discuss it
That's
further
fine.
on
Yep.
how to implement and address that issue.
No, no. And that would be good, Jake, if you were to able to get that information and knowing when we could pay those off early. I know you said a certain date or whatever, but, and hopefully, with these developments as they're growing, that they will be able to be paid off, sooner, but by that date that we
Mhm.
can, right? So.
Yep, and again, on this particular one, Jim, I'm not sure that.
Yep.
That's just historically, when we had projects, when I think they financed a portion of the, like, public health building remodel at some point, and there was like at 7 years of the 15 or something, it could be refinanced.
Yep.
I recall that one. I'm not sure on the details of this one.
Yeah, I'm a big supporter of refinance if you can
Yeah.
negotiate a lower
Yeah.
rate and prepayment or pay them off early if you've got the funds available.
Yep,
So
completely understand. The good news is when at least like the VA, those were very low interest rates at the time. So
Right.
pretty good.
Any further questions? If not, entertain a motion for resolution 2025-59.
Move to approve resolution 2025-59.
I'll support.
Mueller,
Aye.
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Item number 16 is Board of Supervisor updates. Mr.
I
Miller.
have one question I'd like to ask Tyler. Is there any updates on the Dollar Bridge demolition? I get asked that a lot lately.
Pre-construction meeting tomorrow, late start date is June 9th.
Okay.
Do we know how long it'll generally take? Nope, okay.
Depends on how high the water is.
Yeah, it's a working day contract, but to Jim's point,
Mhm.
flows will contribute to that.
Steve, you got anything else?
No,
Mr. Wheeler?
I finally have an update. I've been to the Impact Board meeting last week. That was online. That's an interesting group to be a party to. We had a Conservation Commission meeting also last week, talking about the completion of the cabins and opening those up to the public. So that will be forthcoming. And I also have an opioid, say that 3 times fast, meeting on Friday to talk about how to distribute and use those funds.
Myself, had public health last week, that meeting. I also wanted to give an update to the board. The handbook update, we are moving quite well. Very proud. Elisa's put a lot of work and effort into that. We had been meeting, weekly on that, and we have now met with department heads and electeds. And, going back now, speaking with, we have outside legal counsel that's been helping us make sure. So my intent is to have it before you guys in June. And hopefully, if you guys are okay with it, then we can implement by July 1st. And then we'll like to work on putting it online, like for the employees through the portal system on our website. So, but that's the update. So we'll be looking forward to that. It is going to be a little bit of a read, but, so.
When was the last time it was updated prior to that? 2010,
Yeah.
right? So we're due.
Yes, we're most
Yes.
definitely do. Yes. So other than that, that's it. So entertain motion to adjourn.
Will we adjourn?
second,
McCombs,
aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Johnner.
Thank you, everyone.